Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last week I got this box here full of stuff from a colleague at work, and well, let's see what's inside, because it's quite interesting. We have a bag full of levers. We also have stuff with 4 switches. We have a lot of buttons with interesting words on them. Green buttons, orange buttons. We even have a pink button. Square buttons and round buttons. With lamps and without. And also a key lock. And a funny card with a lot of colors, and it says 2 players game, and it says Pacman Rally-X, and well, it's hard to read. It means DigDug, and it explains how to use these buttons and stuff. So I assume that this here goes probably somehow here, and there is another tube that probably goes, well, that doesn't fit. Maybe we need a black one. Yes, maybe. It's pretty tight fit. And I think you can guess what this is. And I can tell you that's the manual from the board. It's the Namco Classic Collection with 3 games in 2 versions. That makes 6 games. And it's the operation manual with all this, the description about the game, which button is what, and a description of the board, and also all the setup menus here, and of course connectors to the board. And I think it's time now to see the board itself, because this is the original Namco Classic Collection mainboard from the console, from the arcade game, and it has 2 connectors. This one is called JAMMA, or J-A-M-M-A, don't know how you pronounce that. And there is a second connector that is not used in this case, except for the second sound channel if you want stereo effects. And that's the complete board, computer, graphics, controller, and memory, sound amplifier here. That's big stereo sound amplifier chip with some circuitry. That's the potentiometer to make it loud or not loud. What's the opposite of loud? Not loud. Okay. Yeah. Let's see if it works, or if it still works. That's the question. I also got in the package here this original connector. I don't know if it's original from Japan. It looks more like a European product, but yeah, it's a nice connector. Good quality, pretty expensive if you have to buy one, and probably not so easy to find. And I already prepared it with a connector for the power supply here. Black is ground, red is 5 volt, yellow is 12 volt. Then we have 2 wires here for a little speaker. I only connect 1 speaker. As I said, the second speaker is on that connector. And we have an RGB and sync output, so that's the 4 wires, RGB, and white is the sync and black is ground. That goes to this VGA connector, so I just took a VGA cable, cut off the connector on one side and connected the wires here to my edge connector. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Black is ground for joystick number 1, and everything else is not connected yet. There are a lot of buttons, like the contact that is pushed when you insert the coin, then a player button, start button, and so. But I can handle that by touching the contacts with a grounded pin. Yeah, let's see what it does. Connect the edge connector first. Then we need a power supply, so we can take that one. It's a 5 volt, 12 volt power supply, and according to the operator's manual, which describes that very well, we need here 5 volt, 2.5 amps or more. That's the minimum. 12 volt, 2 amps. So I have a power supply that has 3.5 amps on 5 volt and 4 amps on 12, so that should be fine for this board and everything that is connected to it. Okay, let's see, I prepared that. I just have to look at, that's not the original connector for the power supply. So we have 5, 5, ground, 12, 12, okay. So if I connect that this way and leave the last contact out, because that is not connected anyway, so that should work. And as always, don't turn it on, take it apart. No, don't take it apart, turn it on, because it's already apart, so taking it apart doesn't make much sense. Okay. Not much. How about some sound? Anything? Bueller? Bueller? Okay, stupid me. I forgot that we have a timer that shuts off at 17 o'clock or 5 p.m. for those who like this time format. So I turned it on, and now we can hear something. So it seems the board is actually working. Well, I'm not surprised because I have already tested it, but yeah, that was the first sound I heard from that board. Now, next question is, I have this cable. Oh, it seems the game is starting by itself. Okay, let's turn it off again. Ooh, that was Pacman. Did you hear that? Yeah. Does it work with a normal VGA monitor? Well, let's try it. So I took this old ASO monitor here, and let's see what it does. Yeah, we have a picture. And to say it right now, it works and it works not. Because even if the monitor makes an actual picture, it's constantly complaining because it doesn't like the horizontal frequency of 15.7 kilohertz. Vertical 60 hertz seems okay. And it turns off all couple of seconds, or yeah, goes black. So basically it works, but it's not a good picture, and the constant power on, power off, as you see now, that's a little bit annoying. And I also think I have to turn down the volume a little bit, or you can't hear me anymore. So, to make the long story short, I tested several screens. I think it was about 5 different manufacturers and models, and that one was the only one that actually makes a picture. The others just stayed black and did absolutely nothing. So yes, it works, but it depends on what kind of monitor you have, and maybe even if it works, it doesn't work properly. So how to solve that problem? And the solution to the problem came inside this funny little package from China. It was a little bit bigger because normally you get these plastic bags with your stuff, and I bought this, for example. That's plastic standoffs for the board, the same as you can see here, just in white, but they are pretty handy. The problem was I could only get 100, a lot of 100, or maybe 1,000 or something, so I took 100, but they are not expensive. It's about, I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks, no problem. Then I also bought, let's save the best piece for the end, another connector here, fully equipped with all the cables that are needed, even that connector here, which we will see shortly what that does, and all kind of cable locks here, for example, for the power supply. I already played with them. The solder here is from me, with all the cables for the joysticks and the buttons and everything you need in an arcade box. Okay, and the most interesting part is this little board here. You can find it when you're looking for arcade game VGA converter or something like that. Oops, that was the power cable. And that's what you get. And that's a pretty interesting board. You have all kinds of inputs like CGA, EGA, RGB input. You have RGB and sync here. You have that connector that fits exactly to this connector that goes to the JAMA connector here. That's the one I need. You have potentiometers to adjust R, G and B because that's analog signal. You have a VGA input just in case you want to switch between your computer and any other source. You have a VGA output. That's an RGB horizontal vertical output that is connected to the output here. Power input and one big chip that does almost everything. I think the chipset here is something you find in an LCD monitor that has all kind of inputs. It has its own menu here, its own setup with buttons, and it's of course from China, as you can see here. So if someone can read that, please tell me the translation in the comments. But I think that's nothing exciting. on the back side is nothing, just some tracks. So that means this board is able to convert almost every kind of analog signal, computer input, game console input to VGA. There are other boards that convert it to HDMI, and I thought this one is the best for me because we have a lot of VGA monitors around, including the one I already tried. Okay, then there is some input cable goes here. I don't need that. I will probably need the input cable for the power. That goes here next to the power socket. But at the moment I have a standard wall power supply, 12 volt. It takes 5 volt to 12 volt. So I think later I will connect that to the 5 volt power supply, not the 12 volt, because I think we need 3.3 volt anyway. So the power regulator here has a little bit less stress when we go in with 5. Except it's a step up converter, but I don't think so, because these chips are normally running with 3.3 volts or something like that. Okay, let's see if that works. By the way, another nice touch of this connector is that all pins are labeled. The problem is I cannot read Chinese, so that doesn't help me much. But I think, yes, that will be ground, 5 volt, -5 is not used on that board. +12, it's clear, volt, something. I assume that's sound, because that's the position where I connected my speaker. And then we have 1, 2, 3, that's probably player button 1, player button 2, whatever. It's not a problem because I have everything in the manual, so no problem about that. I just have to look that the power supply side is on this side. Because if I do it wrong, it goes boom. In the time you were blinking your eyes 2 times, I connected all this together. I took the connector from the other connector and soldered it to the wires here. That connector here goes to the interface board. So I already told you this connector is already in place. So that's the benefit if you buy all your stuff from the same Chinese manufacturer, from the same shop. So they have parts that go together. Otherwise you have to make the stuff yourself. Okay, let's plug in the power to that interface board. A red light goes on. And screen says no display, no signal. Okay, that's clear because the game board has no power. We change that now. We have display. Okay, and it doesn't look too bad. Of course, it's sideways now because the original screen was mounted in the frame in the landscape mode, so the long side up and down, so that way. Okay, but unfortunately I cannot turn that screen here on its socket, but yeah, it works. So let's see what this interface board can do. Let's zoom in and I press the menu button and we get an overlay menu. Maybe it's better visible when I turn the game board off. After a couple of seconds it jumps out of the menu, so we have to do that again. And most important part is number 4, because when you buy this board it is set on Chinese, and that looks this way. So you go to setup item number 4, press the menu button, select English, there's an up and a down button, select the menu button and your menu is in English. So that's all you have to do at the moment. There is some picture brightness, contrast. You can change your preferences for the picture settings. Then geometry, yes, horizontal and vertical position. You have to keep in mind that horizontal and vertical is as the screen is now, so that is horizontal and that is vertical. If you mount it 90 degrees rotated, then you have to think about that, because horizontal is still that way, and if you turn it, it's that way, but yeah, you know what I mean. Then display, you can set your output resolution. So I took this one, I think that's pretty much okay. I have to go to return, yes. Language, we have already seen that, and exit. Or you just wait a couple of seconds and it exits by itself. Okay, let's turn the game on again. We have no sound because on this connector I have not connected the speaker yet. Well, the first thing to do is the diagnostic mode of the Namco board. So I turn that off, and there is a little dip switch. As I said, there is the dip switch, and switch number 1 on. That means we slide it towards the printed number 1 here, or towards the connector. Sets the board into diagnostic mode, and that looks like this. So we have switch test, we have sound test, coin options, game options, color test, convergence test. Convergence is when you have a CRT, you have to adjust red, green and blue colors to overlap perfectly in the same line. That's something you don't need on an LCD screen. But I first have to connect some buttons because I have no input at the moment. Normally it takes not long to connect everything because you have these pluggable locks here, but the problem is they don't fit to my switches and I had to solder everything. So now it looks a little bit weird, but yeah, I had to cut off the plugs here, and I used the plugs here because all the switches are common ground. That's why you have so many of these here. So they go to all the switches and probably also all the lamp indicators. And then there are 4 more wires for up, down, left, right. Okay, so let's do that again. Turning on in test mode. Aye! Okay, and I just figured something interesting out, because when I first set up this converter board, I had some distortions here in this area. The first couple of lines were flickering around here, and I found when I pressed the auto button on this board, which is here, oops, sorry, that's the down or auto button. So if you are in the menu, it's the down button. If you are not in the menu, it's the auto button, and that does the same as the auto button in your screen. It adjusts the picture, and that's pretty nice because it eliminated that flicker here. So let me see if I press the auto button again. Yeah, it shifts around a little bit. You can probably see it in this corner, in the upper right corner. Yeah, you see how it adjusts itself and gets in sync. Okay, so one trouble less. Let's see what the menu does of this game card. So I connected my joystick. I can now move down the arrow here, and I go to the conversions test, and I select that by tapping the player 1 button to ground, and that's this one. And we get an only blue screen, and that's interesting because the last time I did it I got a white screen, but probably, yes, we get all different colors if I press the player 1 button again, and yes, that's the one I wanted. And with that grid here, it's very easy to adjust the oops, somehow, okay, yes, I see what happened. So that's exactly what happens when a lot of loose cables are lying around. That earth leg here just touched the fuse and popped the fuse of this workshop. So first step is to remove that. Turn that off. That. So I will probably use that later, so I don't cut it away. So that should be safe. I hope it didn't fry the entire power supply. The fuse here looks pretty black, so that's certainly gone, but I hope that's all. We will see. Okay, cross fingers, I just replaced the fuse. Yeah, that was it. Okay, easy fix. Of course, we have to go into the test again. Let me see, going down. Connect player 1 to ground. We have a test picture. Okay, what did I just want to do? I wanted to go into the menu of the converter board this time. Go to geometry, and now we can set the horizontal position. We can also set horizontal size, so that can be fit to any monitor you have, even a CRT. Maybe on a CRT you don't need the converter board, depends on the interface. Yeah, and default settings, that's always a good thing if you don't know exactly what you're doing, just as I do. Okay, and to leave that menu I have to tap the other, yes. So there is also a back button that is not connected. I don't know which one it is, maybe one of the coin buttons or the player button or whatever. Okay, switch test, sound test. Sound test sounds nice. Let's do a sound test. Okay, player 1. Oh, left and right, okay. Center, oh. It's even surround. Quattro, okay, doesn't have that. Song 01. Is there also another song? Oh, song 00. How does song 00 sound? Left, right, check song, okay. How to start that? Player 1 button? No. Well, maybe song 00 is a little bit stupid. How about song 02? Yes, that's something different. Seems that there's a constant beep. Song 03, how's that? Well, it seems song number 3 does not exist. Okay, you know what? Let's leave that test mode and go to the game mode. I think that's what you're waiting since a long time. Switch 1 back to off. Oh, I see it here is off, is marked, so that's clear which side is off. And if I turn that on, that's the self-test, and we are ready to play. So let's see how that works. Let's try the player 1 button. No, I first have to insert some coins. That's probably, yes, that one. Oh, oh no, it's still demo mode. That wasn't the coin button. Okay, it seems I found the coin button. Let's insert some coins, and then next to it is the start button. Select. Okay, I want to play Pacman Original. Cool music. Uh-oh, it seems I connected the joystick the wrong way. So, okay, seems to be fixed. Let's try again. Oh. It's a little bit difficult to play it sideways because, yeah. So, but I think you got the idea. Let's see if we can get out of this. No, no. Okay. Seems we have to stick with Pacman or do a reset. I do a power reset. I don't know how to switch from one game to another. Maybe that's not possible. You have to decide for a game and then play it. Let's see how the other games look like. Insert some coins and start. And well, Pacman new version, how does that look? Yes, new version. Okay, looks a little bit more modern, but of course it's not the same as the original. Who needs instructions for Pacman? Okay, when I hold the joystick sideways, it works much better. Oh. Okay, it has more colors and it has more sound, but it lacks the original, well, how could you call that? The original feeling, yeah. Okay, what else? Insert some coins, start button. We select Rally-X, oh yeah. And we take the original version first. Turn the sound a little bit. Expert or beginner? I'm certainly a beginner, so I take that one. Okay. Copyright 1980 and 1996. So 1980 was the original release date and 1996 was when this compilation board here came out. Let's start that. Cool music. Again. Okay. Oops. Oh. Oh, bang. Okay, so what's the goal of the game? To move around in this maze here and not to get caught by the other guy. Okay, maybe that's the sense of this game. Okay, let's see how the new version looks like. So Rally-X, start, new version, okay, start, okay, start again. Music is similar but a little bit more modern, okay. Oh, that was it. 100 points and boom. Okay. Okay, I'm still holding the joystick the wrong direction. Okay. So what can we do here? Jumping over the bridge. Oops, that was an oil spot. Okay. Just got the flag and crashed. yeah, so that's the new version. And now game number 5. It's called DigDug, and I don't know what to do with that, but we will find out. The original version, of course, we take first. Oops, need the start button again. Okay. Huh. Oh, I shouldn't run into the dragon, but I killed the other guy with the rock. Okay, maybe that's how it works. Oh, that guy can wander through the earth without digging a tunnel? Okay. Yes, so. And now, last game, DigDug new version. Coins, start, select that, start, new version, yes. Start again. Okay, a 3D map. Or not, maybe. Ooh. Yeah, he already killed me. I think I have to practice a lot, but that's the new version of DigDug. Okay, and I think that's it for today. So that's my setup here, power supply, board, converter, mechanical stuff, and the next steps will be to build a nice wooden case for that. I have not planned to build a full-size cabinet for this arcade game. I want something a little bit smaller, also with a smaller screen, maybe like that one here. What is that, about 15 inch or something like that. And to make it the size that fits on my table and I can put it away when I'm not gaming, because a full-size arcade game would fill up my apartment completely. So, okay, thanks for watching. I hope it was interesting. Let me know in the comments. Bye!